Ever get that feeling? You're like swimming in facts and figures, but all you really want are those golden nuggets. Well, get ready because today we are diving deep, deep into the wild world of money. We'll be uncovering some seriously surprising trivia. And get this, we're even going to explore how you could use it all to build a totally unique business strategy.
That's intriguing, right?
Totally.
Yep.
From ancient barley to wheelbarrows overflowing with cash during hyperinflation. Get ready for some serious aha moments, trust me. I mean, you'll never look at a dollar the same way again.
It's true. Money has a richer history than most people realize.
Right. Okay, so to really get into it, to understand where we are, we kind of have to, see where we've come from.
Yeah, definitely. Think back to 3000 BC, Mesopotamia. They were using barley as currency.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Imagine, trading grain like it was the hottest stock on Wall Street.
Okay, so trading crops for goods. That makes sense in a way. But get this, cowrie shells, like those little shells, were once globally recognized as money.
It's wild, right? And they were used for a long time. They were durable, small enough to carry, and pretty much everyone knew what they were.
Whoa, so we're talking what, Africa, Asia?
Yep, even parts of Europe.
Yeah.
These shells were everywhere for centuries.
Wow, move over Bitcoin. There's a new OG global currency in town. Okay, so when did we finally ditch the shells and, the crops and move on to something a bit more, well, I don't know, maybe a little more metallic?
Well, around 600 BC, the Lydians were like, okay, time for an upgrade, and introduced the first metal coins. Total game changer.
Right.
And then fast forward to 7th century China, the Tang dynasty comes along, and bam, paper money.
Talk about a revolution.
Right. Though it took the West a while to catch on.
Speaking of catching on, didn't we, rely on the gold standard for ages?
We did. For a long time, yeah. Tying currency to gold was basically the norm for a huge chunk of history. It wasn't until the 20th century that most countries switched to what we use today.
Which is?
Fiat currency. Basically, the money is worth something because the government says so.
Whoa. Trust us, it's worth something. Money, that sounds a little risky when you put it like that. But I have to say, knowing, all this history, it really makes you think about money differently, don't you think?
Totally. It really puts those interesting facts we're about to dive into in perspective.
Okay, so first up, the mighty $100 bill. This one's kind of crazy. It's not just the most circulated note in the U.S., but it's a global superstar.
Yeah, the popularity of the $100 bill is huge.
Yeah.
It really shows just how important the U.S. dollar is as, a global reserve currency.
Interesting.
A lot of countries rely on it, so in a way that Benjamin Franklin is, a symbol of stability when things are uncertain.
Wow, suddenly that $100 bill feels way more powerful.
Yeah.
Speaking of the power of money, let's talk about inflation. This one's kind of scary. Did you know that what you could buy for $1 back in 1950 would cost you $10 today?
Yeah, it's a big difference. That's inflation at work. And it's something everyone should understand, whether they're, just budgeting for groceries or making big investment decisions.
Which reminds me of those stories about hyperinflation. Like that one from 1920s Germany, people needed wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy bread. Can you imagine?
It's hard to wrap your head around, right? Hyperinflation is, well, it shows just how bad things can get when an economy really falls apart.
It's not just about prices going up, right?
No, it's about trust.
Yeah.
When people lose trust in their money, that's when things get really bad.
So we've covered ancient barley, global cowrie shells, the almighty $100 bill, and the slightly terrifying world of hyperinflation. But trust me, our deep dive is far from over. This next one really blew my mind. It's about how differently we treat cash compared to, say, credit cards. It's like our brains just go on autopilot when we use credit.
It's true, and there's a psychological reason for that. They call it the pain of paying. Basically, our brains, they register handing over actual cash as a loss way more than swiping a card.
Oh, that makes sense.
With credit, it just, I don't know, it feels less real, so we're not as aware of how much we're actually spending.
That is so true. No wonder they say cash is king for budgeting. You really feel it leaving your wallet. And speaking of changing financial landscapes, we got to talk about this whole cashless society thing. That really got me thinking.
Yeah, it's definitely a growing trend. Countries like Sweden are almost entirely cashless now. Digital transactions are it's just the norm over there.
That's wild. I'm still finding loose change in my couch cushions. But seriously, that cashless trend, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the future of money?
It's the big question, right? Will we even use physical money in the future, or will it be a relic of the past? How will digital currencies evolve? It's all pretty fascinating if you think about it.
Totally. And we've got even more fascinating facts and insights coming up as we continue this deep dive into the world of money.
Yeah, it really makes you think about all the possibilities, right? Like cryptocurrency. I mean, Bitcoin kind of came out of nowhere and shook everything up.
It definitely has. I'll be honest, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how it all works.
Right.
Blockchain technology, it's a whole other world.
It really is a fascinating thing. But even if you don't understand all the technical details, it's hard to deny that cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, it represents a huge shift in how we see and use money.
Especially for younger generations, right?
Definitely. And speaking of young people and money, one of the things we found really interesting was how much influence social media has now. It's kind of amazing to see platforms like TikTok and Instagram actually shaping how people learn about money.
It's like financial advice, but make it trendy.
Exactly. It's actually a pretty big deal. We're seeing this whole new wave of financial influencers who are making these complicated topics, actually interesting and easy to understand.
Which is something that traditional institutions haven't really figured out.
Yeah, it's like financial education for the social media age. Okay. So we've gone from ancient barley to Bitcoin to the psychology of spending. But remember that business strategy we mentioned at the beginning? You know, the one about using those crazy money facts?
Yeah, tell me more.
Okay, so one of the sources we looked at had this whole plan for turning trivia into treasure. Basically, they suggest using all these interesting facts as a hook to get people interested in learning about managing their money.
That's actually really clever. People love a good story, right? So using those unusual facts could be a great way to make finances more relatable.
Right, especially for people who find it intimidating.
Definitely.
Okay, so this strategy has four main parts. First up, educational content. Think blog posts, YouTube videos, maybe even ebooks and online courses.
Yeah.
But it all revolves around those mind-blowing money facts we've been talking about.
So you'd hook people with the trivia and then what? Seamlessly transition into practical financial advice.
Exactly. Then there's the world of app development. The source suggests creating a savings or investment app. But here's the thing. It gamifies financial health.
Ooh, interesting. How would that work?
So think progress bars, challenges, maybe even a little friendly competition to make building good money habits more fun.
That's smart. It plays on our natural desire to win and compete.
Exactly. It's like tricking yourself into being good with money.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of engagement, the third part of this strategy is all about getting people together through workshops and webinars. Like imagine interactive sessions called Money Mindset Makeover or something with games and activities.
I love that. It's social, it's interactive.
And it gets people involved.
Way more engaging than just listening to someone lecture, right?
Totally. And finally, to take that sense of community even further, they recommend building an online space, like a Facebook group. And the focus would be on fun-saving challenges and celebrating everyone's wins.
It's a great way to tap into that sense of community.
Right. Because who doesn't love a little support when they're trying to reach their financial goal?
It's about harnessing that power of seeing other people succeed. When we see our friends or peers doing well, it motivates us to do the same.
And that feeling of accountability can make all the difference, right?
Absolutely. It can really help people stay committed to their goals.
It really is like having a virtual cheering section for your finances.
Totally. And we've been talking about all these psychological principles, and they really apply to this too. Like, remember the pain of paying.
Yeah.
If you design that app so that, I don't know, it makes taking money out feel a little more real, people might think twice before spending it.
Oh, that's so smart. It's like that saying, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Right.
But with money, it's more like easy come, easy go when it's just digital.
Exactly. And don't forget about storytelling, especially when it comes to educational content. Those crazy money facts we talked about, they're not just trivia. They can be like the starting point for a really engaging story.
So instead of just throwing boring financial advice at people, you're weaving in tales of ancient barley and, wheelbarrows overflowing with cash.
Exactly. Capture people's imaginations, make it fun. Suddenly, learning about money isn't so scary anymore.
This whole deep dive has been awesome. It's like a good reminder that knowledge is power, especially with money.
I couldn't agree more. But here's the thing, and this is important. It's not enough to just, be fascinated by this stuff. You got to actually use it.
So what can our listeners do with all this? How can they use this knowledge about money and how it works to really take control of their finances?
That's the big question. Right. Whether it's finally making that budget you've been putting off, trying out a new investment strategy, even just like sharing these fun facts with friends and family, every little bit helps. Remember, being good with money isn't just about the numbers. It's about being in control.
It's about making smart choices for your future and using this knowledge to get there.
Who knows, maybe one of these little facts will spark a big idea for someone.
The world of finance is always changing, right? And the people who stay curious, who stay informed, they're the ones who are going to shape the future.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From, what was it, ancient Mesopotamia to like the age of digital currencies.
It's been quite a journey. It really has. But the biggest takeaway, the most valuable thing you can invest in is what? Your own financial education.
100%.
Okay.
Keep learning, stay curious, and hey, never stop exploring. The world of money is a fascinating place.
That's a wrap. From all of us here at The Deep Dive, thanks for joining us on this awesome adventure. Until next time.